Hi everyone. In this video we're going to take a look at implementing our own custom error pages. So let's say the user types in a bad URL. We can redirect them to a really pretty looking error page. Now Apache Tomcat has one of its own, so I'm just going to use the project I created in the MVC video. So let's say I type in I've got my hello servlet here rather. I'm going to play it. I'm going to eventually play it. There we are. And let's say I type in just a terrible URL pattern, ASDF, some garbage. What I can do is I can actually change this error page to something that I want. I can make it look nice. So for instance, the one that comes to mind is Reddit. So if I do Reddit, reddit.com, and then I do / type in some garbage, Reddit implements their own error page. They don't say to users there's a 404 error, they just say the page isn't found, and they've got a fun little image here. And you could do something very similar to that. So you can see they have their serve up a random image. So we'll show you how to do that. Okay. Again, I'm going to use the MVC project created in the last video. I think this also will help illustrate a website that's a bit more complicated and really where to put our controllers. So first thing we're going to do to implement our own error page is we're going to implement an error servlet, just like all the other servlets we've been implementing. So a servlet is a type of controller. So I'm going to add a new servlet in this cvtc.javaweb.hellomvc.controllers package. And I'm going to call it error servlet. We'll go ahead and click next. We will keep everything the same. We'll override init and destroy. And just like any other servlet, I'm going to delete this annotation because I don't like them. I'm going to delete this useless import. I'm going to delete this serial version ID. We shouldn't be using the default one. We shouldn't be using one. We need to generate one. So I'm going to generate a new one, new serial version UID. It's got some crazy garbage here. Again, I'm going to delete all these useless comments. I'm going to delete this useless comment. Delete all this code and this useless comment here. I'm going to delete that. Just like any other servlet we've implemented. And just like any other servlet we would implement, we're going to go into WebXML. Sometimes when you close the WebXML file, Eclipse automatically removes the white space for us. I don't know if I like it doing that. I might look to see if I can make Eclipse stop doing that, because I like the white space. It helps me read it. Anyway, this is like implementing any other servlet, so because it's like implementing any other servlet, I'm just going to copy this hello servlet from the previous video. It's not called hello servlet, it's called error servlet. I'm going to make sure to change the class so that Apache Tomcat can find our code and instantiate it using reflection. Just like the other servlet, I'm going to map it to its own URL pattern. So I'll paste this in, clean up the white space here. That doesn't look correct, Eclipse. Again, we need to change all this, so I'm going to call it error servlet. And I'm going to make sure to change my URL patterns to hello error servlet and error. Oh, I mistyped this. This should be mapping, not name. There we go. Not quite. There we go. Why is this mad at me? Why are you so grumpy? Servlet mapping is not complete. Oh, I need the servlet name. Yeah, if you hover over this and you look at that error message, sometimes it'll help you. So I can see it's a little confusing, but it does say servlet name is missing. So I need to actually add the name of the servlet here. So servlet name element, error servlet. And I'm all kinds of screwed up. There we go. We're fixed now. So again, I've mapped the error servlet just like any old servlet. However, in the style of MVC, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an error.jsp page. So I'm going to call it error.jsp. Click finish. And then I'm going to quickly make a custom error page. I'm going to say in an H1 element, you done got an 404 error. Yeah, that's professional. Okay, now I'm going to click play on my servlet. Ooh, before I do that, I need to forward users to that page. So I'm going to do request dot get request dispatcher, the file path, the relative file to error.jsp. So it's going to be /jsp/error.jsp. And then I'm going to forward users that. So I need to call the forward method, and then I need to pass in a request and a response. Get rid of that extra semicolon. Now I'm going to click play. Hopefully I should see, I should get forwarded to my error.jsp. Good. This forwarded me to my error page. Now indeed, if I type in some garbage URL, I should be taken to the error page. Indeed, I'm seeing their default one. Why is that? Oh, I know. I'm at my error servlet like I was supposed to, but I didn't tell Apache Tomcat to forward me to that servlet if there's a 404 error. I need to override the Apache Tomcat default. The way you do that is with an error page element, and then we're going to type in error code, and the error code we want to override is the 404 error. And then we need to specify the location, the place we're going to forward users in the event of a 404. And in that case, it's just this /error. There we go. I'm going to try this again. Okay. So this is the page. However, I need to type in garbage here to make sure I'm getting sent to the right place. And indeed I am. So I'm getting forward to my super unprofessional error page. If I type in any garbage, I still get my custom error page. So again, this would allow you to implement a really nice professional custom 404 page just like Reddit. And you could go ahead and you could override all the other errors too. So if you wanted to send users to a special place for the 500 error in the event that we've got a catastrophic error on our server, you could override the 500 error. So you could create a custom error for that. I don't know if I like doing that. You know, for our websites are so small, you might as well, you know, the custom 500 page, you know, when the class isn't instantiated properly, has a lot of detail. It has a lot of detail. It's got all the stack dump, the stack trace rather, and all the debug information I want, and I don't know if I want to override that. Furthermore, our users should never see a 500 error. Now they might, but they should never see this page. So, you know, maybe at Menards it would be a good idea to override this 500 error page, but I just don't know if the work is worth it. So I'm not going to do that. So again, that's overriding the default 404 page. The other thing that we can do is we can actually override the page if there's an exception that gets thrown. We can override that as well. So in my hello servlet, what I'm going to do is before I get to this request and forward it, somewhere after this, I'm going to throw a new exception. Just like that. Not going to let me do that? I'm going to throw a new IO exception. There we are. And I can actually override this. Now, again, it's giving me an error for unreachable code. Again, you would never do this. This is just a demonstration. But I can actually create a custom error page for this new IO exception that's going to be generated. So I'm going to click the play button here. Again, I can override this default page as well if you wanted to. Again, I find that this 500 page that's being thrown to be very helpful. You know, it's got the message, the type, the description, the exception. Our users should never ever see this, but in case you wanted to, you could override this page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, I'm going to remember this exception because this is the full package, java.io package, and then the class name. I need to remember that when I'm trying to override this page. Again, you don't have to. I'm just going to show you how. In WebXML, what I can do is I can do a new error page element, and I can do exception type. Now the exception type is that java.io, so the java.io package, and then IO exception. And then what I can do is I can type in the location, which would be our error servlet. So the URL pattern to our error servlet. So now when I click play, I will be taken to that page, that JSP page for handling errors. Now again, you're going to see you done got a 404 error, even though there was an exception that's being generated, and that's because my error.jsp and error servlet have no intelligence in them whatsoever. You would have to do a little bit more work to make this a very nice looking page. Again, users should never see an IO exception. I find the default error page to have a lot of useful information for me as a developer. Again, you don't want to be throwing an IO exception in my doGet method. You should not be doing that. But in case you ever wanted to override that, what you do is you add an error page, either the error code for 404 or the exception type, the .io exception. And you can add as many of these as you want. You could add a 500 error, you could add the 50 whatever errors, 504 errors, you could add all, and override them all and add all these nice custom error pages. You could handle them all with a single servlet, which might be nice, or you could implement maybe an error servlet for your custom error codes and then another servlet for these exceptions. Again, I'm not telling you how to do it. Again, a place like Menards may have a lot of these error pages and create their own custom errors. I just don't think it's useful when our web pages are so small. It seems like a lot of work to override the Apache default error page. So there you go, that's overriding a custom error page. You can make a nice one. The only one I think that's worth overriding is the 404 error page, because users might actually encounter that. They should never encounter a 500 error. And again, I did this all with the same MVC package that was done in the previous video. So again, you got any questions, let me know. Definitely help you out. Again, I'm hoping this is pretty straightforward, but again, you let me know. Thanks for watching.